The film begins with a young man named Fragel. He is riding a train. Fragel is a poor, simple young man heading to a desert city because he is going to start a new job there. While on the train, Fragel is eating something, but he notices in front of him a woman with a child. It is clear that they are in difficult financial circumstances. So when a man arrives at the station where he is getting off, he gives the woman his food so she and her son can eat. When Fragel gets off at the station, he finds the place completely deserted with no one around him at all. There is supposed to be a person named Kees who is coming to pick up Fragel from the station and take him to the workplace in the middle of the desert. Fragel keeps searching for anyone in the area until he finds a man sitting and watching television. He tries to talk to this person and ask him about the area, but the man does not respond to Fragel at all and pays no attention to him whatsoever. Eventually, Fragel asks him where the bathroom is. The man points without even looking at him, which slightly annoys Fragel, but he ignores it and goes to the bathroom to wash his face. While he is in the bathroom, someone calls out to him from outside and tells him not to waste water because they are in a desert area where water is very scarce. This person is Kees, who will take Fragel to the workplace in the desert. Fragel comes out and gets into the car with Kees, and they head toward the workplace. In the car, Kees tells Fragel that he will take him to the place he is going for $300. Fragel is surprised and tells him that the company he is going to work for informed him that the transportation would only cost $200. Kees tells him that his price is $300, and if he doesn't like it, there's no problem. He will take him back to the station, and Fragel can go to the workplace on his own. Of course, Fragel knows that the area is deserted and no one will take him, so he is forced to agree to the price. We learn that Kees is an exploitative and opportunistic person. Because the weather is very hot, Fragel tries to turn on the car's air conditioning, but Kees stops him and tells him that the car's engine will break down if they turn it on. During the journey, one of the car's tires goes flat. Instead of Kees getting out to change the tire, he orders Fragel to change it himself. Of course, Fragel has no choice but to follow his orders. While changing the tire, Fragel sees a wild dog attacking another dog and is shocked because he is not used to such scenes. As for Kees, he goes to chase away the attacking dog, picks up a stone, and puts the injured dog out of its misery to spare it from suffering. After Fragel finishes changing the tire, they resume their journey. When night falls, the two of them settle in the desert, light a fire, rest, and chat a little with each other. They begin to get to know each other better, and we discover that both of them live alone and have no family. Kees asks Fragel why he is going to work in this deserted place. Fragel tells him that he has been living a very difficult life until he coincidentally saw the advertisement for this place and felt it was a sign from God, so he decided to come and work here. Kees advises him and tells him that the place he is going to work is full of hardship and exhaustion, and it's clear that he is a kind person, so the people there will exploit him in every way possible. Fragel tells him that he is not coming from paradise, and that he too used to do very exhausting work and dealt with people worse than he could imagine.
The next day, they set off again, but this time, Kees rests a little, and Fragel drives in his place, while Fragel is driving the car, so Fragel decides to turn on the air conditioning because the weather is hot, ignoring Kees's warning about the air conditioning and the engine. However, after a very short distance, the car's engine breaks down. Kees wakes up to the engine and gets angry at Fragel, yelling at him. He gets out of the car, very upset. Fragel gets out after him and tries to lighten the mood, apologizing to him repeatedly, but Kees pays no attention to his words. So Fragel leaves him and goes deeper into the desert to relieve himself. After he finishes, he is about to return to the car, but notices a very shiny rock in front of him. He approaches it and is surprised to find that the rock is made of pure gold. He is shocked and quickly calls Kees. When Kees arrives, he is also shocked. They try to confirm whether the rock is really gold, so Kees takes out a lighter and lights a flame on the rock. They say that if the rock turns black, it is an ordinary rock, but if it remains the same color and shine, it is gold. Indeed, the rock is unaffected by the fire, proving that it is pure gold. The two are overjoyed and begin digging around it to extract it and take it. After they finish digging, they try to pull the rock out together with all their strength, but fail to remove it from the ground. Kees goes to get his car after managing to fix it, ties a rope to the rock, connects it to the car, and tries to pull the rock with the car. However, he still fails because the rock is very large and extremely difficult to extract from the ground. They spend the whole day digging around the rock. Before sunset, Keys tells Fraggle that they must quickly gather firewood because wild dogs are watching them, and as soon as night falls, the dogs will attack them. But if they light a fire, the dogs will stay away from them. So they go to gather firewood and light a fire. Afterward, they sing and dance together, happy because they have essentially become very rich after finding this massive amount of gold by chance. When night comes, they discuss how to extract the rock. Keys tells Fraggle that one of them must stay by the rock to protect it, while the other goes to bring an excavator to extract it. Keys tells Fraggle that he will stay by the rock until Keys goes to bring the excavator and returns. Keys tries to advise him, telling him that it is not easy at all to stay alone in the desert, and that he will not be able to endure the dangers and hardships of the desert. However, Fraggle is determined in his decision because he does not trust Keys. The next day, Keys leaves Fraggle with some of the food and water he has, and also gives him his phone. He tells him that he will call him from time to check on him, and that he will bring a private excavator from a friend and try to return as quickly as possible. He bids him farewell and leaves. After Keys leaves, Fraggle covers the rock with dirt so that no one will notice it from afar. He sets up a small tent near the rock and places all his belongings inside. Before sunset, Fraggle goes to gather firewood to light a fire at night.
When night falls, Fraggle sits around the fire and eats part of the food he has. However, he notices that there are many wild dogs around him, unlike when he was with Keys, because now he is alone, and for the dogs, he is easy prey. Fraggle realizes that the coming days will not be easy at all. The next day, Fraggle wakes up from sleep due to the heat of the ground and the sun's rays. He is very tired because he did not get enough sleep and because of the high temperature of the sun. Suddenly, Fraggle hears the phone ringing and runs to answer it, but he does not make it in time, and the call is disconnected. He remains sitting under the tent watching the rock. When he gets bored, he decides to wander in the desert in search of anything that might be useful. By chance, he finds an airplane wreck in the area. He takes many parts of the plane and uses them to build a tent that protects him from the sun, which is much better than the tent he had set up earlier. He rests inside the tent until he hears a sound outside. He rushes to the rock and goes to check, but he finds nothing outside, and the rock remains as it was. He sits next to the rock and tries to break it with stones until he manages to break off a large piece of gold. He takes it, cleans it of dirt, and keeps it with him. Then he receives a call from Keys and answers it. Keys tells him that his car's engine has broken down and that it will take longer than they agreed. Fraggle tells him that he managed to break off a large piece of gold from the rock. Keys gets angry at him and tells him not to be greedy and take the piece and leave. He orders him to stay by the rock until he fixes the car and comes to get more gold, and then he ends the call. When night falls, Fraggle hears the sound of the dogs and notices that their sound has become much closer. He is forced to stay awake all night so that the dogs do not attack him while he is sleeping. When morning comes, Fraggle tries to sleep, but the problem is that the sun has burned his skin and he cannot sleep due to the pain. He gets up to drink water and finds that the water he has is very little and almost running out. While drinking, he sees a snake in front of him and tries to kill it to feed on it because the food he has is starting to run out. However, while hunting the snake, he accidentally knocks over the water bottle and the last bit of water he has spills on the ground. He returns to the plane to see if there is anything inside. While he is in the plane, he sees a person approaching from afar. He hides inside the plane, but when the person gets closer, they call out to him. He discovers that it is a woman, not a man. She offers him water and food, but he refuses and thanks her. She tries to find out why he is alone in this specific place in the desert. Fraggle refuses to answer her and leaves the plane, walking toward the tent. However, the woman follows him until she goes with him to the tent. Fraggle tries to make her leave before she sees the gold rock, but unfortunately, she manages to see it. She yells at Fraggle and tells her that she will never leave this place. Fraggle loses his temper, hits her on the head, and kills her. He stands there for a moment, shocked. After calming down and processing the situation, he takes her belongings, digs a hole, and buries her in it. However, he notices a dog digging in the hole to eat her body. He goes to chase the dog away, takes her body out of the hole, goes to get firewood, and sets her body on fire. The next day, Fraggle wakes up to the sound of the phone ringing. It is Keese calling him. Keese tells Fregel that he managed to get the excavator and is on his way, but the excavator will slow him down and he might be delayed a little. Fregel becomes very upset because he does not know how he can endure staying in this place longer. While he is talking to him, Fregel sees the car on the road and decides to take the piece of gold he has and leave this place. However, when he looks at the large gold rock, he hesitates and changes his mind. He decides to stay by the rock until Keese arrives. Afterward, Fregel goes to gather firewood before night falls, but while gathering the firewood, he's surprised by a very severe sandstorm approaching him. Fregel runs, trying to escape and find a place to take shelter. Due to the strong wind, he is hit by a flying tree branch and loses consciousness. When Fregel wakes up the next day, he's surprised to find that the tree branch is embedded in his body. Despite being in great pain, he does not care about it because he cannot find the piece of gold he broke off from the rock. He gets up and searches for it everywhere until he finally finds it. As soon as he finds it, he collapses next to it and begins to feel exhausted. Afterward, Fregel gets up, removes the branch from his body, and as soon as he removes it, he starts bleeding heavily. To stop the bleeding, he takes a piece of his clothes and wraps it around the wound, but the bleeding does not stop. He's forced to light a fire and cauterize the wound. Of course, Fregel suffers greatly from this and collapses on the ground from exhaustion. Here, Fregel begins to hallucinate. He sees the woman he killed everywhere around him and is on the verge of going insane until he snaps out of these hallucinations at the sound of the phone ringing. He quickly goes to answer Keese's call. He tells him that she is everywhere around him. Keese understands that a woman found out about the gold. He keeps yelling at Fregel on the phone, telling him to kill her, but Fregel is not focused because he is surprised to see the woman standing in front of him. Strangely, her face no longer has the wounds that were on it before. She offers him food and water, but he refuses, yells at her and tells her to stay away from him and leave. She tells him that she will leave, but before leaving, she asks him if he has seen her twin sister around this area. Fregel realizes that this time it is not a hallucination and that what he is seeing is real. He tells her that he has not seen her sister. She thanks him and leaves. Afterward, Fregel loses consciousness again. When he wakes up, he finds that the dogs have started to get closer to him because they noticed he is sick. He quickly calls Keese and asks him where he is now. Keese tells him that he is very close and coming to him. Fregel tells him that he must come quickly. At that moment, the dogs begin to attack him, one after another. They keep biting him until they finish him off and start eating his body. The surprise is that Keese sees all of this from afar and has been standing there for a while waiting for the dogs to finish Fregel so he can take all the gold for himself. Once he is sure that Fregel is dead, he goes with his car, bringing the excavator with him. But suddenly, an arrow from the twin sister of the woman Fregel killed strikes him, and Keese dies as well. Thus, Keese receives his punishment for his greed and betrayal, and so the film ends.